So I'm here today with Jared Robinson, and Jared is the CEO of Kick Labs Limited. Welcome, Jared. Nice to meet you.
And you, thank you for having me.
Good, good. Just kick off and tell us a little bit about um, Kick Labs Limited, please. What's it
Yes,
all about?
okay. Yeah. So KickLabs Limited is a blockchain-based software company. We build decentralized applications. We actually have built a blockchain, which is quite unique and revolutionary in that we've got what we call a DAO that controls what we do with the supply. Now, that's basically a governance system where people who have bought into our coin, they can use their coins to vote on decision making to make it more decentralized. Um, And yes, so basically our goal is to make the whole crypto and blockchain space a lot safer and more transparent, and also bring the next generation of users over to it, in a way where it's not intimidating. Because I know a lot of people, when you start researching what is cryptocurrency or blockchain, there's a lot of technical lingo out there, and it's it's quite intimidating for a newcomer. So we're trying to break that barrier.
So, how would you dumb that down and explain it then? Blockchain and crypto.
So that's a great question. So I'll use Bitcoin as an example because I'm sure that's the one that most people will know. So if you know what cryptography is, where you use codes to identify certain letters, and basically you'll write a series of letters instead of the actual message. So you could, back in the day, they'd use it in during the World War II to get secret messages from one part of the world, the war, to another without the enemy being able to see it. Now, in blockchain, it's a similar sort of thing, but it's basically powered by algorithms, um, and there's these secret codes that encrypt every little bit of data. And then we have what's called a block explorer, which is like a digital ledger, the actual blockchain itself, of every single transaction that's ever happened on the Bitcoin blockchain. And every time transactions do happen, they are put into a little block, and then they are put onto the chain, and it just gets longer and longer and longer forever. And that means it creates a complete level of transparency. So, and it's also immutable, basically, which means that it cannot be manipulated. Nobody can edit it. And there's a lot of benefits for this. But the cryptocurrency itself is attached to that blockchain. So it would be like having your till and your receipts in a shop. However, it's all done on a digital ledger that lots of people contribute to, and anybody can access it at any moment. And yeah, it's just a decentralized money without any need for any central authority.
And how new is this technology?
Well, Bitcoin was first launched in 2009 by an unknown man called Satoshi Nakamoto. Um, so it'd been being worked on for a long time. Lots of people have been trying to make the perfect cryptocurrency that was decentralized, but Satoshi Nakamoto was the first to do that. But since then, it's come a long way. Now there's tens of thousands of different cryptos, and millions of different holders and investors into the space. You know,
And
so
how many organizations are there out there doing what you do?
um, quite a lot, but maybe not to the level of what we are. I mean, at the moment, we're in the process of raising some more money to build a revolutionary new exchange, which I don't really want to give away too many details because we've got some quite proprietary intellectual property in there. But what we're trying to do is disrupt other markets using the blockchain. So that could be any type of financial instruments that you can invest in. We're trying to make them more transparent using blockchain technology. That's probably the most I can give without giving away what we're doing.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah.
And I guess that's kind of your differentiator right now, moving forward at least.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And see, there are other people who've been trying to do this sort of thing, but they've not really put themselves out there and got the regulatory clarity that they need. You need to be compliant in order to actually make this successful. And that's the difference between us and them, is because the ones that are big enough to be able to do what we are doing, they're partnered with big companies or hedge funds who maybe it's not in their best interests to actually do what we're doing because it might conflict with other things that they've invested in. Whereas us, we're not tied to anybody because we're all self-funded, which means we can go out there and build whatever we want. And that changes the way that we can do things. It gives us a lot more freedom.
So I can see there's lots of opportunities ahead.
Yes.
What does the future look like in terms of challenges?
Challenges are going to be adoption. I think that's going to be our biggest challenge. And in order to achieve adoption, we need to make the Web3 space, which is using your blockchain wallets and cryptocurrencies, more like Web2, which is your ordinary internet. Now, the average person is not going to go on and start downloading wallets and having to manage everything themselves without thinking this is too much. You know, it's going to be overwhelming. So what we're doing is trying to make it more like the normal internet. One example of this that I can share is Ticketmaster, for example. Ticketmaster take a cut of everything. They've got their hands in all the pies and they basically have monopolized the industry. What we're going to be doing in the future, I'm unsure when exactly. It's later on after we've built this next thing that we're doing. But we're going to tokenize tickets and concert tickets. And what that will do is ensure that you can basically control and remove all like ticket touts. You can remove all types of fraud, and you can ensure that all artists get a royalty from whenever a ticket is resold onto another person. And you would use blockchain and cryptocurrency to transfer and confirm data of each customer. And then we'd just make it like an app like Facebook where you'd register, you'd verify your ID documents on there, and then you can trade NFTs as they would be. But those NFTs would actually be tickets. And then it's all just completely transparent and basically everybody benefits at every stage of the journey. It makes it more decentralized than having one big massive authority like Ticketmaster who's monopolizing everything, you know.
So there's a lot of good that can be done for the world here.
That's right, because it can be done literally with everything. Even government, for example, the government voting system. Like right now, yes, we trust that we've all got our polling card and that all of our votes are handled correctly, but there's no way for anybody to verify that. You know, you've got to trust that the government and the people involved are counting them votes correctly, you know. Whereas if we use a blockchain system behind it, that those would be public records and it'd be impossible to forge because everybody can see it and it can never be changed. So, I mean, no, it's quite scary when you think of it like that because perhaps that's going to show levels of resistance we might get to. I'm not saying that there's some sort of manipulation or conspiracy going on, but once you start getting to those levels, you've got to start thinking about these things and perhaps if something like that is going on somewhere in the world, maybe you'll get a bit of resistance, you know.
Yeah, yeah, wow. The possibilities are endless, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
So I guess you're pretty early into your journey of
Yeah,
fulfilling the potential of this business.
that's correct. Yeah.
Where if 100 was you having fulfilled the potential for the business, where would you say you are now on that scale of 0 to 100?
I'd say probably about 40. And the reason
Right.
for that is because when we've built the foundations, we've built our blockchain, we've launched our cryptocurrency and several apps. But now what we want to do is really start disrupting the markets and showing people that there's a better way to do things than what they're used to. Because ultimately everybody's used to just getting burnt in this space right now. They trust people and the big leaders and visionaries, they're too afraid to get the regulatory compliance. So it pushes them offshores. And then before you know it, you've got a situation like FTX. I don't know if you know what that is, but that was the second biggest cryptocurrency exchange. And last year that collapsed. And a man called Sam Bankman-Fried, he's now been done for fraud. He was using customer funds to just do whatever he wanted. He was paying politicians off and it was crazy. And basically, it was unregulated because he weren't compliant. And that means that technically it, it wasn't doing anything wrong in his head, but that's how he acted. Whereas once you become compliant, you've got to have all the correct systems in place and it makes the whole thing safer. And yeah, we're just going to, we're kind of like a hybrid between the decentralized world and the normal world, and we're trying to bring them both together in a way that's really safe and gives you the best or the benefits of both without too much of either of them, you know. So
Yeah. So you're 40% of the way there, let's call it.
yeah,
And
40%.
I guess you've still learned quite a bit of stuff along the way. What have been the
Yeah,
key learnings and what might you do differently if you got the opportunity to do it again?
great question. So I'd slow down, I think, because when I first started, we rushed into everything. We wanted to build everything at once, and we was releasing an app, a new decentralized app every 2 weeks, maybe. for several weeks. We released about 8 different apps. And because we did that, we never really spent the time thinking it through. You know, we was trying to get everything going and bring it all to the market. And we didn't think logically about how we was going to manage all of these things at once, you know. So that was a massive humbling moment to actually take a step back and then tell my community of investors and people who believe in me that we rushed, you know, we was trying to get ahead of ourselves. So instead of doing that, what we're doing now is taking a step back and partnering and collaborating with the biggest like cybersecurity firms in the world in order to build this next part correctly and have all the correct systems and processes in place so that when we bring it to market, it can actually flourish rather than just being a flash in the pan as we move on to the next one, you know. So I tell if I was giving someone advice, I'd just say just slow down, think about things, don't be afraid to share your plans with others, and don't be able to reach out to anybody who might be more experienced than you. You know, get a bit of help, watch some YouTube videos, read a book. You know, there's no rush. I mean, as long as you're actually working towards your goals, you don't need to achieve them tomorrow. You know,
What's the best book you've read then?
my favorite is The Diary of a CEO. I've got it here actually next to me.
Stephen Bartlett.
Yeah, absolutely amazing book. You can't really see it properly, but yeah, I love that book, especially the parts about habituation and the filter. That's really opened my eyes up to marketing, and we're just going to start our new marketing campaign soon. So I'm going to be really testing these theories, you know.
Fantastic. Well, great for you to pass those learnings on as well. Appreciate that, Jared.
No, no problem.
Thank
No
you very
problem.
much.
Yeah, you're welcome.